Okay,
Yeah, just a heads up. Recording is in progress. Okay. Hello, Eduardo.
I'm here.
Um, so this is our first kind of test to, just see how this might work as we move forward. Because when any one of us in the Kawoq group or any kind of future group has a significant experience or dream, that just like in ancient times, we bring it to the community um, to discuss, to share the data that we're receiving, visions, dreams, experiences.
Yeah.
So I wanted to use this dream that I woke up with at 7 o'clock this morning on September 3rd um, to just kind of test it out. So I sent uh, the invite to the other members, but it's, obviously very short notice. um, oh, and it looks like Lori just joined the Kawoq group, so she may be joining us soon. I'll have to keep an eye out for her.
Okay.
We'll wait just a few minutes to make sure we include her if she can come. So the dream was had all of us in it if Lori joins us shortly. The dream had you and I and Lori in it. So
I
that,
was sleeping though,
well, it was clear that you had been driving. You were doing the driving and it was time for you to rest. And I was,
huh? I see.
suddenly, I became aware, oh, I'm driving now. So it's almost like in some of these dreams, sometimes you just pop in and the action's already going on. You just arrive and go, oh, okay, here's the circumstances. All right. I'll see what I can do. Um, but the dream was essentially that, let's see, here's the part. Do I read the dream for record on this Zoom call? How would you approach that?
Um, well, if you want it all to be there, just in case it is prophetic or whatever, yeah, it would be best if you just read what your experience was or just talk about it.
You know
If someone wants
what?
to read it, it's there.
Yeah, let me share the screen. That might be a good way to do it. So I'll bring it up on the activity feed. Okay, so it's up here, and if I come back here and say share screen, I have to keep an eye out for Lori. She comes. Okay, so you can see the screen.
Yeah.
Okay, so I selected this image because it looks so much like the dream. It was
Mm.
this rough, right? So the dream was I became aware I was in a car driving on a freeway. Eduardo was sleeping on the passenger side. He had been the driver up to this point and needed to close his eyes and rest. It felt like we were leaving New Mexico and headed west. I didn't feel afraid or rushed in any way, but I knew how important it was that we really pay attention on this journey. A lot was riding on this, and with it came a whole lot of responsibility. I felt like I was or had been doing okay until I became aware of a significant choice that I had to make. It was an unexpected fork in the road with the construction of a new westerly road that veered to the left. To the right was a continuation of the freeway we had been on with a long standing freeway, which in the dream was called I-15, in view, which would take us north. There were only seconds to think or cognate. Then I realized the car seemed to take the lead and had chosen the unfinished road. Immediately, I began to question my choice, even though I felt I had played no role in this decision. I was aware from an above level that my thinking mind had returned to cast doubt on this choice. We had exited a perfectly smooth paved road to drive on an unfinished dirt road. And was I even allowed to drive this road? You could tell the crew was working as quickly as possible to make the road open and passable because the number of people entering it was increasing. There were times that Eduardo woke up and asked me questions about what I was doing, but he didn't seem alarmed by the unfinished road or my choices. A few times I felt out of control because a scarf or some dark cloth would drop down over my head and impede my view of what lay ahead. Then it would lift, and I could see that I had narrowly avoided a sheer drop off while momentarily driving blind. At one point, I was connected to Lori on the car speakerphone. She was able to look up on a map what was known about this area from a before perspective. She wasn't clear either because all of this was so new and unfolding before our eyes, but she said it looked like I made the right choice not to go north on I-15. Lori added that she was pretty sure it was I-10 that we would eventually get to and would be the one we wanted. I recall feeling that the previous me would have agreed with that plan, but everything was changing so fast before our eyes that it rendered those earlier plans NA no longer applicable. I could feel the past and any previous orientation to it tearing away. I knew I had to let go of all of our pre made plans and navigate this journey moment by moment. So, reading it into the record, um, should I leave that up? For anyone listening to this in the future, this is all new territory and new testing here.
Well, it definitely gets the point across that the earth is moving, the roads are changing, and even though there's people that are working on them, it's questionable what path may be open and what may be closed for the future.
Yeah, yeah, and the what I felt when I woke up was I remembered the Jesus dream. Remember when Jesus found me in the aftermath, um,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of longer than this, but the gist of it is that Jesus leaned over and whispered to me that just know that we're not going to remodel this time. Um, it's all new essentially, and so I felt that dream because it wasn't them doing road construction on an existing road. It was like this image here. It was like starting on a brand new road.
Mm.
And the whole time I'm going, oh shit, is this the right way? My mind coming in to question, to cast doubt.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, and that one of the keys here is to note that the body, the car in a dream is usually your body, um, and your physical vehicle. And so I became aware that the decision was made from my body, because it knows, when you're attuned, like the dialogue and the messages share,
Mm-hmm.
that you'll get your cues from the body. Your body is the instrument that is designed to carry us into this this next sun, new world. um, so I thought that was interesting, and that I noticed when I started to doubt or question it, and was aware that from another perspective, from a higher perspective, that, oh, that's the thinking mind coming back in to try and, take control or take charge, or, disrupt the streaming, the essentially the live streaming that was occurring on this path, on this journey. Um, does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, okay, so then, yeah, the question of here in this paragraph here of of my account, I was even questioning, am I allowed to do this? Right? Like, wait, who gives permission, to forge, to go forward and make these choices? We're so used to an authority saying, no, you can't go this way, or yes, you can come this way. So I was
Mhm.
questioning. I thought that was interesting, that is this even allowed? And then the part about the crew was working really fast because they were building it as the people were exiting that existing road.
Mm.
It made me think of the what was it? Where was it? The Matrix? Something where I think maybe it was a comedian who was talking about um, the Matrix, and like he woke up so early in the morning to catch a plane to head out to a gig that um, he said it was like uh, the crew that built the reality, like the Truman Show, um, was like, oh shit, he's up early, we got to build this, And I thought that was a funny reference, because that's what it felt like. It was like the crews were just like desperate to keep up um, with the building of this new pathway.
Mhm.
Then the interesting perspective here with Lori, it was like suddenly there's the speakerphone on, and Lori's checking in, and she was looking at a map, from the past world, right? It was
Right.
clear that it was from the past, and so she wasn't clear because it was all changing in real time. But she did say she thought I made the right choice not to go north on I-15,
Mm.
and that she was pretty sure it was I-10 that we were looking for and that we were going to get to. But then I remember feeling, I'm not even sure about that, because it was all changing so fast that it wasn't applicable. Nothing was applicable anymore. And then I had that feeling of, wow, just all of the past was just tearing, like I could feel it tearing away. And that we literally, just as the messages have said, this is why we have to attune our instruments, because um, it is a moment by moment journey. It's real time, it's present moment. And if we're not able to sustain presence for any length of time, then we're going to miss the markers on the journey.
Mhm.
Did you have any feelings or thoughts or anything you want to relate about it?
Um, I I appreciate that you can remember your dreams this well. I hardly ever have dreams that I can remember. One lucid one that I remember pretty well, but generally I don't remember them. But this dream is interesting because it shows that we're so reliant on, number one, our roads and highways in order to live our lives, to do the things we want to do. Whereas, not that long ago, we were on wagon trains going, north or going west
Hmm.
from, asking the captain or the whatever the wagon train master, whose name is Ward Bond or whatever his name was in the old wagon train, was the one that made all the decisions about which direction we were going to go. And it all had something to do with at what point can we cross a river without all dying. So, yeah, I do find that your dreams are quite prophetic most of the time. They talk about things that are going to be happening.
Yeah, I definitely have um, a track record for the visionary stuff.
Yeah.
That it's like it comes through messages, it comes through dreams, it comes through downloads. These are all the avenues that begin to open once we attune our body, our cars, relating to the dream here. That there are many avenues, and there may be other avenues that I haven't experienced that others may say, hey, I experience it this way, and here's the data I received. So that's why I feel these kinds of, certainly we invite people to share their dreams in the monthly Kawoq groups. Um, but if you or I or anyone in the group, a member of this group, has an experience or a dream that seems very, urgent, then we could certainly set up some, in between discussions, especially if it feels like, yeah, this is pressing and we can't wait until the next scheduled co-op group.
Yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling about frustration about us not having our network up and running, because I do feel like there's some things that are happening that are going to be happening in the next few days that I
Yeah,
wish we could talk about, because there's some heavy stuff going on right now.
absolutely. But then on the other hand, just to go through the motions of setting up this recorded conversation and capturing it here on the activity feed, um, I went through and it was like, oh my God, I haven't even looked at all these settings, that have to be set before, we've been talking about this for going on 2 months, um, about how detailed this platform is. And I guess we don't need to keep discussing it on this recorded piece, but we're going as fast as we can. Um, and I just want to make it as smooth as possible. So we're not trying to fix things along the way.
I understand. I know what we're trying to do. It's
I know it's a big, big thing. And I guess you think you know what you're getting into. But then once you're in it, it's like, oh boy, this is a massive project. And I think we're doing very well for, what is it, week 6, I think we're into, of
Yeah.
building this. Yeah. But I have to say, I've never felt along the way like, oh, maybe this is a mistake. Guidance is strong. Um,
I agree. I don't feel at all that it's a mistake. I'm just frustrated that
yeah.
that it is taking us longer. And I know that what I was trying to do. Anyway, let's talk about the dream thing, because
Okay.
I do feel that in a way, us creating this network is a lot like going down a road that didn't exist before for us.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they are in their own way trying to build this network, um, so that people like us can broadcast, you know. And
Yes.
all along, our one of the main dreams that you had all along a while back was the one about how we need to talk about something, so you were able to pull screens down from above you
Yes.
and just start broadcasting. In a way, that's what we're doing right now.
That's right. That's right. So that, I mean, that was a prophetic and very important dream. It was very lucid, and it was showing that both of us were going to be broadcasting, um, at kind of a moment by moment, which is what this dream is about. Um, navigating the navigation of, you know, teaching us first how to connect in the way that is our natural or original design, um, through the practice of the dialogue, and then to begin to use it, to use this technology to navigate forward. Um,
Mhm.
because if we're disconnected from the field, from being informed by this field of love and source, uh, that we're just blocked from you know uh, access, or even to be able to see these other ways forward.
Yeah. Well, um, I do feel that it's good to have the availability to our community, how many ever we have. You made me laugh when you're talking about signing up with Honeybee and Choco Boy. It's like, wow, it's so nice to see that we're not alone.
Even if it's just fake accounts.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We got an email from Mighty Network saying one more and you get bronze medal. It's
Oh, did you
like,
get a bronze medal for
no,
inviting your dog into the?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It's just the whole thing just seems all like a dream in a way. I do know that we're based on what I saw just briefly yesterday. It was a statement that was being made that we may be going through civil war pretty quickly here. Um, and how do we communicate when, if, for example, the electric grid goes down? You know, that's the other part of what we're wanting to learn is what if you can't get a hold of Lori and Lori's
Yeah.
not there with the map? You see, that's
Right.
the
But
question is we have to trust our instincts.
right. But in the dream, so there's so many layers to dreams like this, and but it's important to note, or me just say out loud, that in the dream, it wasn't like I reached over, and it's not like I had the idea I should contact Lori and ask her to look at the map and then press a button, right? It was that Lori was just talking to me as I was driving.
Mm,
So when I wrote this out in my description of the dream, it was like, okay, in translation, she was on the speakerphone, I'm guessing, right? But if
mhm,
you really go into the essence of the dream, it's not a speakerphone. We're just talking.
mm,
And
mhm,
she's offering her perspective from where she is. So the messages have said on several occasions that once we phase back into the natural grid, of Earth and of humanity, which is all one, it's intended to be all one, then we can speak and commune with each other just like I commune with these beings It's all the same grid. So um, I'm glad that you brought that up, because this is how we move forward, staying in community and connected with each other. And so, and again, everybody sharing their data
Yeah.
of what they're getting and what they're receiving, and then we support each other in always supporting each other and learning the language, which is the whole point of the language of resonance, is what we're learning or introducing ourselves to in the dialogue.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the way that everything is going. Um, this morning, I had promised. Oh, I guess we're still recording about the dreams.
Yeah. Okay. But this is
Um,
this is how we talk all the time. And it's part of what I'd like to invite people into. So we're just, everything is such an open canvas right now. It's exciting. Um, but if you want, I can stop this now and
yeah, I
we can
just
start.
wanted to say one more
Okay.
thing about the dreams, about anybody's dreams. It's the portals have opened, and this last message that you did basically said that you were no longer going to be dealing with acting as a interpreter, if you will, for them. That all of this was going to be changing with you, and I feel like the time that we're in right now is so important that we make the right choice, that we actually sit down, think about who we are and what we're doing here and what we want to accomplish, and make the choice of going into expansion and choosing to go within and find the light within that's being ignited, or continuing to be enslaved by the system that we've been a part of for so many years, eons, according to these messages. It's been going on for a long time, hundreds, maybe thousands and thousands of years.
Yeah.
So what we are recognizing is that our dreams are going to become more prophetic. They're going to become more important to us. And as we have those kinds of dreams and we really start paying attention to them, it will guide us on the path that we came to walk.
Yeah.
And we many of us literally are uh, not really awake to what we came here to do. We forgot,
Yeah.
and now that some of us are remembering, it's causing some real confusion from a certain point of view. And also, I had just an awareness that we are light and we are sound, and everything else beyond that is I'm not sure of anymore. But so just recognizing that we are here in these physical bodies, knowing that it's possible in this case that we move to the next chapter of what are we doing here and why are we here and what are we going to be doing. It's like the adapting to grace concept, how we all learn to adapt to our own divinity again
Yeah. Exactly. Mm-hmm.
is the essence of what the messages have been pointing to over and over, especially the last 5 or 6, and then how we teach. And instead of being teachers, we have to become the example of the new way of being. maybe it's ancient, the ancient way of being. However we want to look at it, time isn't relative. It
Well,
doesn't exist. So what
it's
is?
it's both. It's
Yeah,
both. It's ancient and now, and that's what this whole community is about. Is the
yeah,
bridging of that. Yeah. um, I just smiled as you were mentioning adapting to grace because it was it was 11 years ago that we stood on a stage in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and went, okay, I think we're supposed to be talking about all of this,
yeah,
the Mayan stuff, and what I'm getting through the message is I think, okay, well, let's try it, and it was just, you just got to laugh at all the attempts that we had made to make it visible in the world. But as we have both discovered in our own ways now that we're here, it's like, oh, okay, all of that was just practice, so that we could practice saying it out loud and talking about it and owning it and being very, very clear about who we are and why we're here. Um, because that because in this portal or this intersection that is occurring right now, um, this is why we came here. This is why many of us came here. And so we're all figuring this out. And what you what you've been speaking about is it is we're all on these different paths and journeys and purpose. Um, but it's in community, it's in talking out loud to ourselves in the dialogue and with each other that we discover more of who we are, and it just clicks. Things just start to click because we're emerging from that dream state, that spell that we've been under, and it helps to reinforce, no, you're not crazy. I see you, I hear you, and I have felt the same as you, and I am seeing that too. And it's isn't that like huge when you experience that with other people, with each other, certainly between you and I.
yeah. No question about it. I had to think on my feet today and creating something about some talks that I'll be doing next here in a couple of weeks here in Pueblo, and which I was just invited to do. But also the one on October 3rd in Taos. What what are we supposed to be talking about
Yeah.
if that's the
Yeah,
question. And so
exactly. Yeah.
I had to put it together. I had to put it into a flyer this morning, and the words just seemed to come. A talk and
Yes,
discussion by me, author of, and then what am I going to talk about? Well,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
wisdom sharing on the subjects of
Yeah.
many humans are awakening, creating community now, living
Yeah.
in the time of the new sun.
Yeah.
Portals are opening, returning to the light. Prepare your body, mind, and spirit for the shift, using sound and light to heal. You know, all of the things that either came through ancient teachings or things that I've learned, but also much of what you've learned and taught me through your messages. It all just makes more sense now than ever before. I don't have to go searching for something interesting to discuss. Um,
Right. Right.
it's it's living it right now. We're
Yeah.
in it. We're living it, and
We're live.
yeah,
We're
yeah,
live. Yeah. I'm, I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to say um, that I had this thought this morning that even if this community site, doesn't have any appeal or interest or value to people, what I will get out of it is that I was able to, as I built and worked on the site with you, I am able to really more clearly define who I am and why I'm here.
Yeah.
It's not important if nobody's interested, right? Even if nobody's interested
Yeah.
and no one in the old world is validating you, it's still rewarding to step into it and to accept it and to see it and to own it. That's
Yeah.
that's huge. That's
It is.
huge.
It is. Yeah, it is. It's also, I think, just to give you some other information that happened yesterday. My son and I talked, and he asked me how things were going with our light dialogic community. And I said, well, we're getting closer every day to launching, and I feel a lot more comfortable about why we did it and what we're doing. And I said, I'm really excited about it. And honestly, I haven't been excited about very many things lately. But I'm very excited about this because he even said, geez, he said, it sounds like you guys have created something really wonderful. One that's really good. Dad, he said, I'm really proud of you. And I said, wow, that's nice to hear.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't make sense, even to people who are completely locked into keeping the old system going, but if it doesn't make sense to those who are looking for an avenue to walk down, at least just to see what does the new realm really hold, and how do I feel about it, and what does this mean, what does that mean. And it's all of these feelings that are showing up when I'm putting in ancient teachings into my portion of what we're doing, but I realize that they really are important and they do make sense and they are appropriate for now. And so
Hmm.
I'm feeling more rewarded by me having to go and do, like the 23 enemies, and who are the enemies, and then how did civilizations exist for that long a period of time without collapsing before, and why is it ours is only 244 years old, or 45 years maybe, and we're in the process of watching it completely disintegrate, with people hating each other for no reason at all,
Yeah.
making enemies out of other human beings that we don't even know who they are, what they're thinking, or what they're doing. It's just so uh, important. How do we go into the future? What rules do we have? How do
Right.
we how do we keep our balance? Those are the questions.
Well, right. And that's, just bringing it back to the dream, and the ending of it is just like feeling everything that you're talking about from the world, in the dream, which I dream for the collective. That's what um, the visions are about. Is it's about humanity. When I have these kinds of dreams, it's not just personal. Um, and that old reality, all of those things that we once thought were so relevant and so important, and so key to life, that we thought was life, it will tear away. It will fall away. And the point is what's left? Who are you? Who are you in essence? And how do you move forward when
Yeah,
there's nobody telling you how to do it and what to do? Who are you? What do you want? What is your passion? And even if there's no structure for it, even there's not a complete road for you to travel down. It's a brand new road, and you get to make it up as you go. Uh, if you are choosing to be an embodied human being, a divine human being, which the messages have said so frequently, that this is what we're doing now. We're stepping into our original design. And this is how we move forward. If you can't vibrate with your original design and activate it, then you will either consciously or unconsciously stay with the repetitive cycles that the Maya also point to. Um,
Yeah, and it's appropriate in the dream too that you would be roads because that's what the Maya call the white road, the great white road, the Milky Way, choosing the right path to go to get there is now available to us. We have portals that are opening, and which one do we take? Which one do we go through?
and it's not a mental process. It's in the dream, it was the car that made the decision. And I was like, because there wasn't enough time to think and go, well, let's see, what are some, need to weigh the pros and cons. I need to make a chart. No, I was driving. There was a fork in the road. Boom. I'm going on the road less traveled. The road
Yeah,
the
yeah,
road never
yeah.
traveled.
I'm also, but the one thing that does concern me is that what was that thing that kept dropping down and covering over your eyes?
Well,
That's,
I know. I felt, I asked I tuned into that and asked myself that, and I feel that it's um, kind of like some external attempts uh, to throw me off balance, perhaps.
hmm,
That because it wasn't, it was just like, what is this thing? It wasn't. It was like coming from um, something beyond my focus, of what I'm doing here and how I'm driving and where I'm headed. It seemed to interfere or try to block my efforts. But then when I couldn't see, it was full 100% trust until the that covering lifted. So when I indicated in the dream that it was dark, that's you know kind of literal there, right?
yeah,
It's a dark, an effort to thwart, but it cannot be successful. That's the thing that a lot of people don't understand about the darkness is as long as you're in your body, as long as you're even intending to be a fully embodied divine human, um, they cannot throw you. They have no power over you. Um, so that's so much of what I want to cover or talk about in the future uh, about this time that we're in and how to navigate is the reason why the darkness can throw us off balance now is because we're not fully in our bodies. We have a mental version of ourselves um, that where we think that's who we are, and the way that we interface with the world, it's just this made up person that we had to build to interface with this strange limited reality.
yeah,
So yeah, all of these things, we should probably close
yeah.
this
We better,
conversation.
yeah. All the memory in my on my iPad just got used up from this video. I'm just joking. Um, so yeah, it's probably best if I eat something. I'm really fading and I'm hungry, but
Yeah.
just thank you for doing this test because it shows that this community network that we are developing together is working and it's capable of doing what we hoped we could do without bringing in things like Facebook and Twitter and you know
Right.
so
Social media stuff. Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
it's working and
And
I'm happy. I'm very excited actually. It's like when I got your message this morning, I went, oh, how do we do this? It's
and we
like,
figured it out, and here we are.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
I'm very excited too. I get more
yeah.
excited as the days go by. Okay, thank you for joining me on such short notice. And again, it feels like we could talk, and we usually do, for 2 hours at a time until one of us goes,
All right. I'm
I
gonna
need to
fade
eat.
out now. I'm fainting.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
All
I'll
right, all right. Talk
stop
to you later.
recording. Okay.